The moment we walked in, I felt it, an unspoken shift in the air. The music pulsed low and steady, like a heartbeat beneath the chatter. Voices clashed and mingled, bursts of laughter flickering under the chandelier's cold light. It illuminated everyone but me. Claire slipped her fingers from mine the instant we crossed the doorway. No look back, no smile, just a quiet, practiced release, like she'd been waiting all week for that single moment of freedom. She drifted into the crowd effortlessly, while I stood there, suddenly a stranger to my own wife. 6 years of marriage had taught me her quirks, her dry wit, her hatred of cilantro, her love of food so spicy it made her eyes water. But the woman in front of me wasn't the one I knew. She belonged to this room, to its noise and its people. She leaned close to friends, whispered something that made them double over with laughter. Her hand brushed a man's arm lightly. Her head tilted just so, a smile stretching wider than it had for me in months. I felt like part of the wallpaper, present but unseen. I retreated to the edge of the room, pretending to scroll through my phone as I swallowed the sting of invisibility, of being quietly erased by the person I loved. A waiter offered me a drink. I took it, but the taste was nothing. All I could see was Claire, tossing her head back, laughing with a freedom I hadn't heard in ages. Minutes bled into an hour. Not once did she look for me. Not once did her eyes flick through the crowd in search of her husband. Finally, I couldn't stand it. I set the untouched glass aside and slipped outside into the night. The cool air wrapped around me like a reprieve. Sitting in the car, hands locked tight around the steering wheel. Every part of me wanted to drive away and never turn back. Then my phone buzzed. A single message from her. Come. My heart jumped like an idiot. Maybe she'd noticed. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe she was waiting for me. But deep down I knew better. That text wasn't meant for me. The weight in my stomach turned to stone. I put the phone back in my pocket and went back inside. The party hadn't changed. Music, laughter, swirling bodies. But Claire was gone from the spot she'd been in. My chest tightened as I scanned the crowd. Then I saw it. The edge of her dress disappearing down a side hallway. Phone in hand, I followed quiet. Each step felt like dragging my heart along the floor. At the end of the hall, a door hung slightly open. My pulse roared in my ears. Through the gap, I saw her, and she wasn't alone. The tall man from earlier stood close. Far too close. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She smiled and showed him the screen. He'll come, she whispered, soft and amused. You sure? He murmured. Of course. She slipped her phone into her purse. He always does. That's the problem. He'll never leave me. Each word landed like a blade. My stomach twisted, heavy and cold. I should have burst in, demanded the truth, tore away the thin fabric of the lie I'd been clinging to. I should have shouted, but I couldn't. My body stayed frozen as my marriage unraveled in real time. Her hand rested lightly on his chest, a touch small enough to seem innocent, but burning like acid in me. He leaned in closer. That was enough. That one movement. That single, intimate gesture. I turned before I could see more, before the betrayal could carve itself into me in unbearable detail. Outside again, the night air struck like a slap. My hands shook as I fumbled with the car keys, the metal cold and alien in my grasp. I don't remember the drive home, only the smear of lights, the endless asphalt, and the sting of tears pressing at my eyes. Silence wrapped itself around the house when I arrived, heavy and suffocating. Her words echoed in my skull. He'll never leave me, not until she made me. Hours passed like years. At 2 a.m., the click of the door made me flinch. Claire walked in, shoes dangling from her fingers. She froze when she saw me sitting there. James, she whispered, startled, her voice small. I didn't speak. I just looked at her. Why didn't you answer my text? She asked, trying for defensive but failing. I let out a bitter laugh that didn't sound like my own. Your text. Her face paled. That wasn't meant for you. Don't. I said, my voice low, sharp, edged with hurt. Don't lie. I heard everything. Her mouth opened, but no excuses came. Silence filled the space between us, heavier than any confession. She finally dropped into a chair, tears glinting under the dim light. James, it's not what you think. I slammed my hand on the table, the crack of it slicing through the air. Don't insult me. 6 years, Claire. 6 years of my life. Of trust. And you threw it away like nothing. Her tears fell freely, but mine had already dried, replaced with something colder. You know what hurts most? My voice was steady, frightening in its calm. It's not that you cheated. It's that you believed I'd never leave, that you could shatter everything and I'd just stay, invisible, waiting. She sobbed as though she could cry the guilt away. I didn't stop her. I stood, the chair scraping harshly against the floor. You've said enough. She reached for me, trembling, but I stepped back. For once, I wasn't the one chasing. That night, I packed a bag, just enough to reclaim myself. Essentials, a few things that mattered. As I zipped it shut, her voice cracked from the doorway. James, please, don't go. I paused, her plea heavy against me. But it was too late. I turned and met her eyes one last time, searching for even a flicker of the woman I'd loved. There was nothing left. No, I said, my voice final. I walked out. The door closed behind me with the sound of something ending, absolute and irreversible. For the first time in years, I felt seen. I wasn't a shadow anymore. I was free. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I could breathe,